Who ready? We ready. Who ready? We ready. Who ready? Who? We ready. Who? Who ready? Who? We ready. Who? Motivation to youth only. Mentally feel like Kobe. I'm like Jokic with the rock. You physically couldn't hold me. I don't care if you pushing 40. You can never little bro me. Euro step like Ginobili. From young OG to the OG. From nosebleeds to floor seats. Circle stronger than Cuban links. My gold dance, your gold plated. You verse me, now that's a reach. We ready. Who ready?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the 101 Sports Show here on the Black Man Unfiltered Network. I'm here with the crew. The coach is in the building, Brother Dante and Shawnee from the DFW area. Good to be with you guys on this Wednesday after week 2 of the NFL season. Got a lot of things going on. We had a mega fight over the weekend, so we're going to get into all of it tonight. Good to see you guys. Make sure when you come in tonight, make sure you hit the like button, certainly as you come in, and consider joining the network. Hit the member subscribe button. We appreciate you guys being here. Also, anything that you want to give us individually, our cash apps are scrolling at the bottom of the screen, so you can certainly go there and again check that off as well. And so we can definitely continue to give you great content. But good to be with you guys again. Let's just go through our check, our life checks here. So I'll start with Dante. How you doing, sir? Feeling pretty good after last week, at the start of the season. So I know you were feeling good today, rocking the Cowboy colors. So how you doing, sir?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm feeling good. Like you said, as rough as it was. I know we was talking pre-show. I'd rather be 1-1 than 0-2. So feeling pretty good, man.
Awesome. Shawnee, how about you, sir?
Man, I'm doing good. Just tired. Job having me driving all over the place as we're doing this project. So
I
heard
heard that.
A whole lot of time in traffic.
So you on the road. You're a road warrior. I heard that.
So DFW, as big as DFW is, I feel like I'm a road warrior.
So we don't say this out of envy, but Coach is retired, so he lived that retired life. But we still gonna check in with him anyway. How you doing tonight, sir? What's going on?
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing, man? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
My word is excitement right now. My word is excitement, man. I'm feeling good. I'm getting some good news, and so
Make sure when you find it appropriate, because I know we talked a little bit offline, but when you feel it's appropriate, drop the news and whatnot. But good things in store for you coming up in the near future. But it's good. Glad to hear things are progressing in positive ways. I'm sure you'll share in due time. So good to be here tonight. All right, before we get into the main topics of tonight, one thing that I've been noticing as of late, so I'm going to start off with this, that we're almost seeing an evolution in the kicking game. We saw in the preseason, Jacksonville, in fact, they played Pittsburgh in the preseason. Dude dropped a 70-yarder in preseason. Then Boswell, week 1, dropped a 60-yarder, and it was good from 70. And then you had your guy, Brandon Aubrey, hit a 64-yarder to send the game in overtime and eventually help Dallas to win the game. So what is going on with this kicking game where you used to have – I remember that guy, I think his name was Dempsey. The guy, I remember he played for the Saints, and he had like half a foot or something like that. And that record stood for 50 years or something like that. And in recent years – the kicking game has just exploded where you got these guys who are like, it don't matter. I mean, it's like you're gonna it doesn't matter where you set up, you on the other side of the 40 and some of these guys can make it. So what do you think is going on with the certainly with the kicking game, and where do you think this is going? It's almost like it's a revolution. And I think it's changing strategy in NFL. And yes, shout out to Trey. Yes, we're talking about. We got to warm it up first. This is light talk. This is the main. This is the main. This is like the first entree going on. This is like the what do you call them, little mingle sessions or whatever. We're just kind of warming up a little bit, warming up our voices. So we'll get to the meat of the show for sure. But I just want to kind of get your guys' view and opinion on what's going on with the kicking game. And do you think, what's the limit? I mean, we're going to see 75? I mean, what's going to be the upper limit here? Because I've never seen this. I've never seen this before. So what do you guys think is going on?
So I was listening to a story about that this morning about basically the kickers used to have a limited amount of time with the kicking balls. And so along with the skill getting better, the kickers with the longer the distance, they're getting more time and more comfortable, kind of like they know the sweet spot of that football. And they are really kind of exploiting that a little bit, as well as one thing is when you see the guys get in the range so fast, like I know we'll get into the Cowboy game later. With the new kicking rules, if you have a kicker with a big leg, you get the ball around the 30, a couple of first downs, and you're there. As you saw, they ran a draw play to basically kick the 64-yarder because they knew his leg range was so deep. And I think you're going to see more of that. And it's kind of like it's a risky thing where if you're kicking a field goal that deep, but you also, I think defenses will adjust. And I don't think every kicker has 60 range. Like you say, you got 3 guys there, but I don't know. I think 70 is about the max, just because especially outdoors, you're going to, and then like you said, like Coach loves to say, hey man, it's September. It's still technically summer until the next week's games, it's officially turned to fall. Weather gets worse, kicking distance will get shorter.
Gotcha. Shawnee, what do you,
well, I look at as 2 things, because I think it's just the evolution of the kickers. They see, the new kickers train, for distance, they get their legs strong and all that. So they literally practice these long distance kicks all the time. Back in the day, teams were trying to get a more reliable kicking range, more routine, like, within 40 yards or whatnot. So they didn't have to always practice or whatnot 60-yard kicks. I think now the younger dudes, and definitely, I know you got these other positions on the field, they're bigger, faster, stronger. With kickers, they're doing the same thing, so, and they practicing 60-plus yarders now. And then your favorite, Mr. Bennett, Mad Dog Russo, he was on First Take this morning. He had his little rant, but he brought up an interesting point. So we have all these new rules now. Because we mentioned Dante mentioned how teams don't have to go too far down the field now. Because as you saw the Cowboys, they even brought on the broadcast. They thought they had to get more in field goal range, and all they did is a little draw. Like, but you still need time to, but no, we know how the leg that Aubrey has. Well, now with these kickoffs, they encouraging teams to don't get touchbacks, or they automatically bring the ball up to 35. So now, when you have the leg of today's kickers, instead of going from how it used to be, where many times they have to start the drive within the 20 and maybe drive it all the way to like the opposing team, what is a 40-yard kick. So if you go into the 30, that's a 40-yard kick, including the end zone. Well, they trying to maybe get to maybe at least the 35, the longest, to have a more successful chance for a kick. Well, now, hell, they, like what the Cowboys did, they stopped around the 50. And you just, so like in baseball, how they did, like when the pitchers started getting stronger, and they wanted to throw, you seen a lot of them, because it used to be like, oh, he could throw 100 miles per hour. But then it just started getting more routine. And then in the playoffs, because they start doing all this pitchers versus certain hitters, that they'll take them out, it'll lengthen the game and kind of bore the game and whatnot. So they made the rule change. Hey, your pitcher has to go against at least 3 batters to keep the game flowing. Well, in the NFL, it's not as far as like the game is getting bored with them, but to an extent like where, okay, now it's kind of taking kind of the, when you got a kicker that can pretty much make a 70-yard kick, you only have to go 25 yards to get in the field goal range. So the defense was like, man, okay, man, we can't really. It's hard to stop an NFL team from 25 yards, unless you just get everybody get a 3 and out every single time. So now, like, okay, you can't, or whatever, I don't know, you can't kick a game-winning field goal till you get within the 40. So at least give the defense a chance to stop you. Because now, who knows? Like I say, I won't be surprised if a kicker could kick 75 yards.
Yeah, this is like all these records are dominoing. But we'll get Coach in real quick, and then we'll kind of get into the main stuff. I just saw that at the end. I was just seeing this pattern. I was like, I haven't seen this kind of no record is safe anymore. But what do you got, Coach?
None of y'all must have never kicked the field goal, huh?
I haven't.
Listen,
I'll admit that.
so the evolution of the game, Dante touched on. Shawnee said the evolution, correct. And kickers, Dante, it don't matter what ball they use, a kicker that can kick. You said that they find that sweet spot now. Now they're kicking it longer and practicing it more because kicking is always going to be a part of the game. And since they done changed the rule to sort of zone the kickoff now, you see the kicker, he ain't fully kicking the ball with his full extension. He's sort of just pooting it so it can land inside the zone so they can get a run back. And now the team is fast enough where they can still get you inside the 20, 24 instead of getting the ball at the 35. And that's the thing about kicking. The kickers are getting stronger. The technology, they done mastered the technology. The ball weight, all that has to remain the same. Because again, when the weather changed over the next month or so, those 70-yard kicks that seem like they're going straight down the middle, they might start veering off to the left or to the right, especially if you're an opposing kicker in Buffalo, in New York, in cold weather Chicago, Green Bay. So it looks good, but I think the field goal is always a part of the game. I love field goals. I made a 32-yarder as a junior in high school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
it
I
just
wasn't
seems like
the
now
kicker.
you never used to see a 60-yard field goal unless you were in Mile High Stadium or whatever because of that altitude. Now it don't matter where it is, the balls are going through. But yeah, we'll see how this is. I haven't seen this kind of thing since they changed it. Remember, guys used to kick straight on, but then they came up with that sidewinder in the early 80s, and that seemed to be the model where everyone's at. And now it seems like everything is just evolving. But let's get into some other matters here. So, again, we've got a rash of injuries. All right, so, again, Jaden Daniels, sorry, Trey. Congrats on the stadium getting approved. I know you wanted to kind of shout that earlier. But, yeah, Jaden Daniels is out with a sprained knee. Then you got Joe Burrow again. Probably one of the most unluckiest quarterbacks in history. McCarthy, he's out. Again, he missed all of last year. Now he's out. Justin Fields has a concussion, and Brock Purdy, be careful what you sign up for. Just gave him the big money, and he's going to be out for a few weeks. So again, there's going to be a rash of injuries. So a lot of guys are, potentially going to get opportunities to start. So we talking about, situation in Cleveland and whatnot, or just teams going to be going around looking to maybe pick up some of these characters. But what do you think? One, this rash of injuries. Do you blame the preseason? I mean, none of these guys are taking reps in the preseason. Are these guys actually ready to play? Are they, ready to take the field or is, something else going on? But, certainly, rare I've seen, 5+ quarterbacks who are on the shelf for this coming week. And certainly it's, some of the stars of the game, you can't see them. So, what's your take on all these injuries? Start with Dante and just work it down.
Okay. Yeah. So what I'll start with is this. I want to say Mina Combs had a good point about Jay Daniels. Talk about the amount of hits. He's taking more hits than any quarterbacks as far as contact than quarterbacks in the league. And that takes me back to his LSU days where he did, takes a lot of contact, had some concussions. And I would say if he is not 100%, they need to definitely kind of cater the game to him and make sure he's not taking those hits. Like you said, Joe Burrow, just unlucky. I would say J.J. McCarthy, he's another one. He took a lot of hits and especially that game against Atlanta. So he's another one where it's just like he's got to protect himself better, get rid of the ball. They got to try to protect him a bit better. And then same with Fields, got a concussion. He's a guy that's more mobile, use the run action. And like Purdy, I didn't get to see like his injury, but like him having an injury, it is tough for them, especially since they are a team in transition, trying to get back to where they were. So I just think it's a part of the game, injuries, and some of his luck, some of his, hey, you got to protect your quarterback better.
Sean?
Yeah, I think it's like you mentioned, like many of these quarterbacks, if not all of them, didn't play in preseason. So you literally just trying to come out. The gate just sprinting. I know they work out and whatnot, do preseason workouts, but could it be related to lack of reps in the preseason? Maybe, because this is just going to be the norm now. I mean, it's like the higher these quarterbacks getting paid, the more prone they are to injuries. Is there like a direct correlation to anything that can, get them to be more? Because the whole thing used to be, this used to be kind of the potential pathway of a running quarterback, because you're exposing yourself a whole lot more. So you're the pocket passer. They tend to be more protected in the pocket, limit some of the big hits besides if you get sacked and stuff like that. But I'm looking at Purdy is more athletic than Burrow, I believe. But them two, I'll put them in the pocket quarterback, passing quarterback. The other three are mobile. But there's no straight line connections on why these injuries are happening. But it is 1, 2, Justin Fields, hopefully maybe one. He got a decent contract compared to how his respective careers went. But at least 3 of them had a decent contract. And it's just like when these quarterbacks get paid, it's almost immediate. Like the injury, it's just right around the corner. You like, man, that happened to Dak last year. Dak just got paid and then he broke his ankle. Was he broke his ankle? Something like that. So it's just like you get paid, but it's just something around some evil, dark cat around the corner that's going to immediately just take you out of there. So could it be the lack of reps in the preseason? It may be related because, like I say, you just coming out the gate sprinting. You're not really taking that much preseason reps. I know you're taking stuff into practice, but game speed is different. Okay, yeah, he hurt his calf. Yeah, right after he got his contract, he hurt his calf for the rest of the season. I don't really have the answer to why these dudes is getting injured like this, because you don't hear really no injury besides, well, you mentioned McCarthy. And you only played, 2 games so far, and you already missed 17.
Yeah.
You're about to miss at least 3 to 4 more. So what's that, 21 out of potential 23 games you could have played, you missed. That's not good to start your NFL career.
Gotcha. Coach, what's your take on this, and what opportunity? So we talking about, Shador, he may get a start somewhere fast.
Man, y'all can't even talk about Shador. Y'all talking about Shador should have been the 5th round, man. Stop it. I'll just go backwards with Justin, man. I think, the concussion is, I think Justin Fields needed that bang upside the head. He's been given opportunities to start. So I think he needed a wake-up call. Hopefully he come out of it scot-free. Hopefully they don't be talking about, long-term, because Tua's one, he get hit with a water bottle upside his head. He might not ever come back. But, I think he'll be all right. I think the Jets will be okay for that. McCarthy, he's never really played full lead man contact football in NFL yet. So, yeah, he tweaked his ankle. All that pressure was coming. Now he know what it like to get sacked in the pocket by a 275-pound, 300-pounder that can hit. He know, but he'll be okay, though. He got good technique. Burrow, he just don't work out enough. He's too skinny. He ain't getting his strength together.
I don't know if he's not eating them some.
He ain't getting his strength together.
He's using cheeseburgers or something. I don't know. These guys with these diets
he's got fragile bones.
I'm like Chad Ochocinco. You need to start.
He got fragile bones. Purdy, between San Francisco and Dallas, they the 2 sweethearts of the NFL. Every time a player get hurt, Dallas is a little different, but San Francisco, let him sit down for a couple of weeks. If it ain't him, it's McCaffrey. San Francisco, they give him excuses. Jaden Daniels, he's trying to do too much right now. He just need to slow down and go back, to playing his balanced game. They need to keep him balanced. He's one of the best defensive readers. But, yeah, man, they'll all be all right.
Yeah. But, again, it's just to have this many injuries after week 2. I can't remember a season when guys out the gate, teams are already having to, go to their backups. And again, these days, your backup is like several degrees lower. They say if you got 2 quarterbacks, you got none. So these teams and a lot of these guys were looking to compete this year, and their seasons are going to be compromised, already out to shoot. And I don't know how well these backups are going to be prepared to play. So,
but I think they should, at least play one full preseason game. So maybe the last one just play that.
I believe all that just relates to their contracts, because that's when they were playing. But once teams start investing the money, especially the quarterback position, and they get that second contract and they invested that money, they try their best, which I understand. They will put those quarterbacks in bubble wrap because they do not want the dudes to get hurt, and they over there paying them near $500 million. I can understand from an owner's perspective, but then you're like, okay, you try to protect him to the regular season, but he's not getting the reps, his body not taking the required hits per se by the time the regular season starts. So it's like, I see why they're doing it, but like, damn, man, you hate that. Like Mr. Bennett, it's so early, only week 2. These type of injuries, you'll be seeing maybe like after the midway point of the season. But some of these injuries, man, like for example, the Vikings. The Vikings season could pretty much almost, I don't know where they're going to be by the time McCarthy.
And you traded the guy who gave you a good season last year.
Remember Aaron Jones, he's out too.
But this is not a bad number of quarterbacks who have injuries. The complications of injuries out of all the teams in the NFL, I think the names are surprising that are on this list. I think the names that are, to have, 5 quarterbacks, 6 quarterbacks that have injury with Justin Fields, you would think he's good in the next week or so, 2 weeks. Okay, boom, he is the franchise and he come back. But I'm not surprised though. You know what I'm saying? So, concussion, this amount of players, but it goes to show somebody signed 2 scrubs today. Who's that signed to the quarterback? They signed 2 dudes they never even heard of. Never. And that's why they should have drafted Shador in the first round, one of them teams. So all you Shador haters out there should have been on there.
The Bengals, but he was Bengals backup last year. I'm trying to think.
But somebody's who's that? Man, I got it on look at my app, man. Somebody signed 2 dudes. Y'all don't even know their names. Who's that?
Gotcha.
I think it was Minnesota.
All right, let's move on. Speaking of Jaden Daniels, so we had, again, Thursday night, you had Green Bay looking impressive again. Now, look, Jared Goff in Detroit, we're not going to go over every game. I'm just cherry-picking some games because we take, 2 hours to talk about every matchup or whatnot. We typically don't do it on the show. I'm just calling this out. They looked, obviously, they look very impressive against Detroit. Now, you want to say if Detroit is coming off, but Jared Goff had a comeback game. I think he threw for 5 TDs this past week. And Jaden Daniels, the Packers made him look very pedestrian in this game. This defense is legit. And we got to start asking the question. Is Green Bay, I know we talk about the Eagles. I know they're 2-0. We're going to bring them up in a minute. But are they the team to beat in the NFC? Because they look good they look balanced. The defense is cooking. You got 2 leading edge rushers. Love is looking pretty good. So is this a sign of things to come? Where is this a team that people need to start looking at? You heard the fans after the game. They were talking about thank you, Jerry, for making the trade. So what were your thoughts on the game? And so I know it's week 2, but I just look for some things. I think they look very good. They look, this defense is live, and they can certainly make some noise.
I want to say, like, as far as that, I'm here for 100% of the Jerry Jones slander. So I respect them having their fun and poking their fun at him. Like, that's cool. What I will say is the Packers do look pretty good. I would say they look more impressive versus the 2 good opponents that they face. Trey, I hear what you're saying. The Eagles haven't lost, but I watch football, and if you think that the Eagles have looked good, that's another thing. Winning and fighting through, because we can't now. I will say this: we can't give all the props that we gave to the Chiefs for finding a way to win. It was ugly, and they flipping a switch. We can't give them that grace and not give some of that to the Eagles. So 100%, you give them their props for winning, but do they look as good right now? No. I want to say I do think, yeah, the NFC East plays the NFC North, so we'll get to see that matchup at some point in the season. So I want to see how those teams look then, especially if it's later in the season. But you got to give them their props that they're on the list of contenders in the NFC.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Sean?
I believe the Packers, they do look good. You know, I can't speak on how, 'cause, you know, the thing about Love is he can look good, but then he can also kind of have a tendency to throw his team out of a game at times with his interception. So right now they're 2-0. They look like a solid 2-0 squad. You know, they played against some good teams and dominated both of those games.
And based on what we're seeing, the division's compromised. McCarthy's out. The Bears look awful.
I think the
And
Lions.
so they're clearly the class of the division. So
I think I mentioned last week. I think the Lions will be all right because they have too much talent. So I think obviously Bears they got to figure out something. They basically a project right now. And you mentioned the Vikings. They get hit hard with injuries. They lost their starting quarterback and running back right now. But yeah, I think this is that division. This is a 2-team race. I can't wait till them 2 teams play each other again. I don't think it's going to be. I'm hoping Detroit will be able to find something. But like I said, they just have too much talent. But right now the Packers look good. They're a good 2-0 squad. Still 15 games left to play. Got to see how things go with them. That they be interested in seeing them playing a team like the Bills, who's also looked good the first 2 weeks. There's other teams and one team, and that's something I forgot when we was talking about it the other week. Another team that's looked good, but their offense is just not exploding right now, but they have the weapons, and that's the Rams. I remember one week we was talking about who was going to be the challenger. I'm bringing up Buccaneers, then we bringing up Packers, but we never did bring up the Rams, who have a legit chance to beat anybody in the NFC, including the Eagles. They have an all-pro quarterback. They have legit weapons. So it's going to be interesting to see, Packers. I don't know if they ever play them in the regular season, but maybe they pass across in the postseason if they both make it. But right now they playing real good football. Micah is getting a whole lot of attention. Man, he only got 1.5 sacks right now, but that's just the Micah effect. It's an excitement of him going up there to be on that team, even on the pitch count. So they do look good. I mean, I'm benefiting because I have Love as one of my quarterbacks for my fantasy squad. I did the right thing. I didn't start him last week because of the team he played. I think I started somebody else, and it turned out the right decision. But yeah, they look like a good team. I mean, their offense can go. I think they still need some receiving weapons. I'm waiting for Golden to really take off because he hasn't really been used as much lately. Defense, though, if anything, they do look legit right now. But I'm not one of them prisoner of the moments people, man. You got to show me throughout the whole season because stuff could change by week 8, and all of a sudden we may be having a completely different conversation.
Gotcha, Coach.
Yeah, we tripping. Yeah, I like right now. Philadelphia is the team to beat, man. You got a quarterback that knows how to make a touchdown every time you get the ball. That's all you need. I know y'all like the flash and the bomb now, but we see in the cold weather team, I think Green Bay has sort of got something special over with Micah. I think the city's riding behind it. Outside of him, the other players have picked it up tremendously. And that's a dangerous combination early when your defense is playing good and solid like that. The key to Green Bay is going to be their offense with Love. If he stay consistent and, don't get too cocky and stay healthy, I can see Green Bay and Philadelphia, battling out for that East and, the NFC. Because I don't see anybody, because you think about it, a few teams is already quarterbacks is already down for the count. And I don't know, it'll be interesting, but I think as far as early on, Green Bay's defense looked top notch. Philadelphia is their young player, the one that's, spitting on people. He got to get his head together for Philadelphia to step it up. But also Dallas has a good chance. Dallas has a good chance. They'll energize
that
too.
defense, that defense can't stop. I mean, 2 games. You say it's only 2 games, but again, the Giants with Russell Wilson, put almost a 40 burger on those guys. So I don't know. This defense has got a lot of work to do to shore up.
They better.
Yeah, absolutely. Move on. Speaking of the Eagles, so again, we see these guys here, beat in the Super Bowl rematch, 20-17 over the Chiefs. Chiefs are 0-2 for the first time since 2014. That's even before Patrick Mahomes got there. So, so the question we got to ask ourselves is this the end of the Chiefs dynasty? What's going on? Kelsey's over there yelling at everybody as usual. But is it over? Was this, in your opinion, more Eagles or less Chiefs? And just to give some historical perspective on this contest, historically, in Super Bowl rematches, the team that won the Super Bowl typically beats the team they beat in the Super Bowl the next year. So you got games going all the way back to 1977. And this has just been a trend in these Super Bowl rematches. So I don't know if it's a hangover from the beatdown they got last time, or just a lot of things going on. But do you think that was this more so the end of the Chiefs dynasty, or is the Eagles, they just flexing their muscle? They're still the team to beat in the NFL. So let's start at the bottom. Let's start with the coach, and then we'll work it back up.
No, I would want to say it's probably the end of the Chiefs. They've gotten older. I don't think they really did anything in the offseason to get younger. And it's starting to show in a sense. What's his name? The tight end. He got too much distractions going on, man. He can't even close his hands on the ball. That's just bad timing on his part. I think they'll be okay though. Andy Reid he's a good coach. He'll get them to calm down and get it together. Philadelphia, yeah, man. When you got a running back that can possibly break out for 100 yards anytime, and a quarterback, again, the coaches seemed more mature with Philadelphia. I saw him. I was checking him out, and he was trying to, calm everybody else down. So that's a good sign, man. But yeah, Philadelphia. I think Green Bay is going to be top though. It's going to be those two in the end. From now, week 4, we'll be able to tell.
Gotcha. Shawnee?
Well, I was just quickly Googling to see, because I think when we mentioned about the Chiefs and about their dynasty due to their age, they currently, I believe, like in the top third of the youngest teams. The average age on the team is just under 26 years old. When we say, I guess they're getting older, it's really only one person we're really looking at.
I'm not just saying older.
I'm just saying like when
I'm saying, but there's also attrition. You lose players.
Yeah.
Or teams just figure you out. So
yeah, it's just some of the narrative that you hear, in the sports world. They bring up like the Chiefs are like past their prime, or like as they kind of make it relate to age, but it's really only looking at one player, and that's Travis Kelce, because he's such a crucial part to that weapon, to that team. He's getting older. Everybody else is relatively young and still in their prime for the most part. They just like you alluded to, they are missing 2 of their weapons at receivers, and Rashee Rice is a pretty good receiver. He was just doing something stupid. That's why he's not playing right now. And then, of course, I don't know what's the
Worthy.
I don't know how long he's going to be, because he got a separated shoulder.
shoulder.
So
do you think Travis Kelce's lost a step?
Oh yeah, Travis Kelce reminded me currently, but he's a better tight end. But he kind of reminded me of Jason Witten. What I was expecting of Kelce right now, Jason Witten, as he got older, he was slower, but he was still a dependable weapon. He still had hands.
Yeah, he's catching.
Right now, what you see with Kelce, I'm like, okay, he's not as fast, but he's like you mentioned, Coach. He's dropping catches like they would have. I think they would have won that game versus the Eagles, but he dropped the ball right there. I think the 1 or 2 yard line. That could have been a touchdown. And
Dropped
you know, it's just stuff like this, and this is not the only drop he's been having. We was talking about, you know, it was focal point on his drops last year. So now he's, you know, at reaching the part of his career where, you know, he almost thought about retiring before year. But he said, "No, I still got a little left in the tank for this season." You know, because I thought that the one of their tight ends last year, he was starting to develop a decent rapport with Mahomes. So I thought, okay, he may be next in line. But Kelsey like, no, I'm gonna come back one more year. But I'm not saying, like, you probably can name 5 tight ends better than Travis Kelsey right now. You muted, Mr. Bennett.
My bad. So just stay with Kansas City. Who you taking, Gonzalez or Kelsey? You gonna start team?
I mean, I guess 'cause right now you go on names. Many people, I'm pretty sure, are gonna say Gonzalez. They damn near equal. Because they both revolutionized that position. Tight ends that look like receivers, they played like a receiver. So I don't know, man. Obviously, I think Tony Gonzalez probably been doing it longer. Travis Kelsey, who was still Travis Kelsey when Alex Smith was his quarterback, I can imagine the type of career if he would have had Mahomes. He would have been off the stratosphere. So I mean, you splitting straws. You know, it's just, I believe Tony Gonzalez, I got to look at his quarterbacks on his, I think he had kind of more stable quarterbacks for a majority of the career more than Kelsey. But Kelsey, I believe he had a quarterback on the level as Mahomes, it would have been off the charts because the chemistry him and Mahomes had was just magical. Mm-hmm. So, but I think they both could do the same thing. They both have excellent hands. They both run excellent routes. They was fast for each position. I know they were both decent blockers. Well, I think Kelsey may be the better blocker. I can't remember how Gonzalez was as a blocker. But yeah, I mean, people might put Gonzalez because they're looking at Gonzalez's whole career compared to Kelsey's. But yeah, I don't know, and they similar to each other. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Dante?
I don't think I would say I'm a lean slightly Gonzalez because I really loved him as a tight end. And like you said, good point, Trey. I would have liked him play with a really great quarterback to see what could have happened. Because he even still had it at the end of his career when he went to Atlanta. Mm-hmm. But I would say the Chiefs, I would say it's not over, but it is looking rough. Because I know like Rashee Rice, they get him back after 6 games. But before those, I think next they got the Giants. Obviously, should be an easier game that they should win. Even though they're playing on the road. But after that, they got Giants, Ravens, Jaguars, Lions, Raiders, Commanders, and then Bills. So it's getting to the point to where if they don't pick up some wins, it's gonna be like they'll get their guys back, they'll get Worthy back, when they welcome back in. Because I know he was trying to play last week, but they were like, no, it's not. Like I said, he was catching balls in practice, but they said it's 50-50 right now. So I would say Giants, don't play them, and you play them the next week against Baltimore. But I would say they have to get some wins so that you're not getting Rashee Rice back, finding your rhythm, and then, hey, it's just too little too late because the AFC is the tougher conference. So you have to look at it as even if they do get it together, the Chargers are coming and they already got you. They got the tiebreaker right now, and they're 2-0, you're 0-2.
Gotcha.
So they got to get it.
Did you give a counter on the game? So was this more Eagles or just less Kansas City?
I see less Kansas City. They just didn't have enough. And then stuff like the touchdown they were gonna have. Kelsey, just terrible bounce, doesn't catch the ball. Eagles get the interception. That swings the game. That's something that's very opportunistic, and you're supposed to do and take advantage of opportunity. So props to the Eagles for that. But I just feel like the Chiefs just wasn't enough, and it was a real ugly game.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Shout out to our guy Anton, always representing, always showing up on the channel. $5 super chat. The Chiefs are still hung up from celebrating Travis Kelce's engagement to Taylor Swift in Brazil. Appreciate the super chat, sir, as always.
I wanted to bring up this one real quick. 'Cause I just did a quick stat search on since we brought up Kelce and Gonzalez. Receiving yards right now, Kelce is just under 13,000. Gonzalez has just over 15,000. But Gonzalez played almost 100 games more in his career, 270, currently 177. So receptions 1325 Gonzalez, 1010 for Kelce, and then just on down. Touchdowns 111 for Gonzalez, 78 for Kelce. So I mean, I don't know how you could relate that if you give an extra 100 games. But I don't think Kelce. Obviously, I don't think Kelce's gonna make that. I don't know how much years. That's what an extra 10+ years seasons. Kelce's not gonna get to an extra 100 games. So.
Yeah, and I think the Trey's point earlier. I mean, what if he did play with Mahomes all that time? You know, the numbers would be he'd be
ridiculous.
He'd be fighting nearing Jerry Rice numbers if he would have had.
And that's and
he would have had a guy like that.
And I see the comment Trey mentioned. You know, basically kind of because Gonzalez didn't have Mahomes. Basically, you kind of minimizing the player's performance because of the quarterback he had. Well, I mean, you could look at Jerry Rice, and he's put, and many believe, the greatest receiver of all times.
Yeah,
but he had two Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
He did, yeah.
Throwing him the ball. So that's why I don't really. You make the stats with the people throwing you the ball. I mean, you can't. I mean, I could look at Andre Johnson. Many believe he was a great receiver. He didn't have nobody like. He barely had a Pro Bowl. Maybe for 2 seasons with Matt Schaub, he had the Pro Bowl. 1 season, whatnot. Everything else, you know, they give him Brock Osweiler and stuff like that. So, you know.
Well, man, that's the quarterbacks that turned out in those drafts. You know, that was the scrub quarterback, you know what I'm saying, of those times. And we give the brothers a hard time. You know what I'm saying?
It's interesting you guys spoke about stats because we're going to go into our next discussion here. So, again, thank you, guys, for sharing this earlier. So, again, we led off the show a couple weeks ago, talked about Jalen Hurts' top QBs in the NFL 2025. Jalen Hurts was all the way down to 38th best in the league in 2025, according to analysts in the NFL. And this season, so, again, 6 quarters of football, Jalen Hurts has 0 passing touchdowns, only passed 214 yards, Super Bowl MVP still. So and you still want to put him in the top 5 quarterbacks in the league? Please stop. So again, this is the comments of another person, but again, you know, certainly I thought it'd be an interesting topic. All the brother does is win. So I don't, if you still want to debate, you know, the numbers, stats, I know we all love them. We love the 5,000-yard passing seasons and all that kind of stuff. He does what he needs to do for his team to win. But you know, certainly, we can talk about it here. I mean, certainly, is he a top 5, or certainly deserves more love than what he got in the preseason ranking at 38th. Because he may not have the statistical numbers, but he wins. And so we got, you know, so how much you want to put the stats and the record over the winning here? We go with this all the time when we talk about great players and whatnot. I think he's a great player, but you know, let's fire it off. So Dante, I don't know, it was either you or Shawnee who gave me the stats. So
I posted it.
Okay, so you posted. All right, so you lead it off then. And so what do you got to say? But again, the brother wins. So yeah, I mean, I'll just lead off first. I think he's great, and I would have no problem putting him in top 5 at this point in time.
What I'll say is this: when you look at the guys to the right that you have in the top 5, so you know, I think it's early for Daniels, but I think Daniels is a good example of what I'm talking about. So you have Mahomes, Allen, Jackson, Burrow, Daniels. These are guys that were able to be the driving forces while their teams were successful. You'll see Mahomes was in the conference title, obviously in the Super Bowl. Allen in the conference title game. Burrow has been to a Super Bowl, and Daniels was in the conference title game. So it's just like he was the driving force of that, is where that team was basically, what was he drafted, number 2 overall? And so Philly has a really good team. You don't apologize for winning and having a good team, but also I have eyes and I can see, hey, this guy, I want to say in the first the first game against the Cowboys, it got to the fourth quarter late, and then they got AJ Brown, a very talented receiver. They got him the football just so he would not have a game where he didn't have a reception. And so it's one of those deals where him being proficient enough as a passer, as a game manager with a elite running game, and somebody that's able to do the tush push and get and move the ball with himself with his legs, he's excellent at that. But a top 5 quarterback, he is not. He is not a guy that consistently is going to be able to lead and move the team. Like it's not, and especially from his struggles to make plays in the passing game. When the very next week we saw that same Cowboys secondary get sliced by Russell Wilson, obliterated, and you are in a dogfight game, struck with the best offensive line in the league, good receiving weapons, and you can't make plays in the passing game down the field. I wish I had posted the passing chart of his week 1 stats, and it's just like, this is the game chart of not a top 5 quarterback. This is a game manager. There's nothing wrong with that. Just like, Philly has specialized in building rosters, like they won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles, with a team with a great offensive line, great defensive line, and weapons in the defense in the back end, and defenses at the receiver. And on the receiver position. So it's like, it's nothing wrong with saying he's not a top 5 quarterback. I'm not taking away from his accomplishments, but is he as good as those other quarterbacks? Hell no. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. We're saying two things can be true.
Well, my whole thing is this is 2025 season, and then they got Barkley in 24. Remember how they
the guy went to a Super Bowl before Barkley got there.
Yeah. Did
we see that game and how he balled out in that game too?
He still has the same type of roster. But my thing is he's good enough to in a moment, and that is the definition of him not being a top 5 guy. In a moment, he can raise his level. Like Barkley carried him in the playoffs, and then he won a Super Bowl MVP. And another thing that does annoy me is the fact that as good as Barkley is, he takes away his 1-yard touchdown runs.
But who carried him in the first Super Bowl though?
The total team was good enough to get him there. And then the first Super Bowl, if you look at those playoff games, he did not carry the team in the playoffs. He's a guy that can't consistently carry you and that's fine if you are a game manager. There's nothing wrong with that. We always see the end of it, but we don't look at those. Like I want to say that first playoff game was against look at this, better yet, look at the stat lines from the playoff games and tell me like who carried who in that situation.
Because you remember how the 2023 season went. Philly started off strong, and then the bottom just fell out on them. And because Hurts, like Dante, he will have games where he's looking like an elite quarterback, and then he just go like in the witness protection program. So then their fate changed once they got Barkley. Because at one time, that's when Sirianni, he was damn near on the hot seat. Because they lost 6 straight games, then had that embarrassing playoff loss versus Tampa Bay. And they started off like 10-1, and they just lost everything. But then they fate changed once Barkley came, and it took Barkley, almost broke an NFL rushing record, and they literally rolled him throughout the entire regular season. And then the first couple of games in the postseason before, Hurts was able to. So he can play up to an elite quarterback level, but it comes in like short spurts. And then the rest is just like he is playing complete complementary football with the rest of his teams. And I look at it like this. Because I played receiver in football in high school. If I had the skill set, because receivers, they want to get paid too. I mean, they want to get their money too. If I played with a quarterback like Jalen Hurts, or even before he had that first good game, Justin Fields, I'm pretty much knowing like, well, I don't know if I'm going to really be able to get enough stats to enjoy a payday for myself. Yes, I want to win, but hell, I want to get paid too. Otherwise, I'm just going to be a glorified blocker because you got receivers on his team that, for whatever reason, like A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown goes through this several times throughout the regular season, where it's like he's in a witness protection program because his quarterback doesn't deliver him the ball. And so, is Hurts a good NFL quarterback? Yes, he has shown and proven that throughout his career. You just don't know when it will come out. When it comes out, the dude will light it up. But he like have one coming out game, and then go to like 5 or 6 games where he's literally just basically, you look at his passing attempts, and it's just, he maybe only throw the ball 15 times. So I don't know. It's just very low.
But
Hang on, coach.
But I'm saying he does have the benefit.
I don't. Am I watching a totally different game? I have no idea. And
You said that he's a top 5 quarterback.
Shout out to Lost in Translation, who's in the chat tonight. He's bringing up Dak Prescott. Do we really want to say Dak is better than Dak is better than Jalen?
Man, I'm trying. When y'all look, when y'all trying to compare quarterbacks,
this is.
Hold on, man. Hold on.
I'm not even bringing Dak up into that. We're talking about top 5. Like I said, Dak's not a top 5. He is Hurts.
That is a top 5. Hurts is a top 3. Reason why, right? Out of the current quarterbacks, it's only 3 quarterbacks over the last 5 years that have a winning percentage over 500 and over 700 in the league. And that's Mahomes, Jackson, and Hurts, right? Yes, he's not getting you 300 yards passing. He has the capability, the team, the coach, he designs plays for that. Now, Jalen could improvise and start getting his receivers the ball a little bit more, but the system that they play under, it's probably, as far as as the season progresses, it's always going to be one of the dominant systems, but the coach is sort of the one that keeps them from really letting the ball go. Because they already practice it. They tell them who to pass it to and not to pass it to. But see, again, the season is going to change as we go into the fall. Then you may see a little bit more, balanced offense.
I have to see.
But so what if he wins out? What if Philadelphia wins out? What can you say about him then? Would he be one of the top 1, 2 in the league?
If he looks like if you talking about the Eagles,
if they win out and he's averaging 200 yards passing a game and he has no interceptions and 14 touchdowns passing and 25 rushing, is that MVP worthy?
Well, if you asking me, because I've seen this several times when it comes to Jalen Hurts, that means his running back is having a hell of a season.
Yeah.
So other quarterbacks don't have
MVP for him though.
Jalen Hurts has the benefit of having a good offensive lineman and a hellified running back, so he can use that. So yes, he gets.
But he was winning, Shawnee. Even before Barkley got there, he was still winning.
He had a good running game. Like I said, I'm not saying Hurts is a bad quarterback. Top 5, no. But I'm asking though. I want to ask. What's is wins alone the scale that you guys are using to determine these top 5? Because
I'm saying
if I put Joe Burrow,
wins is 50-50.
If I put Joe Burrow on the Eagles squad right now, so Burrow can have this running game, this offensive line,
he'll be hurt after 2 games.
Oh, come on, man.
He'll be getting adequate protection.
Joe Burrow is blowing the guy's hurt.
Now he ain't got adequate protection.
Now Joe Burrow is on the career path.
To the receiver.
Joe Burrow is on the career path of Andrew Luck. The reason why them dudes get hurt a lot, one of the main reasons is because their respective organizations could not deliver an offensive line. Jalen Hurts don't have that issue.
He's putting up 40 points. Last year he put up like almost 35, 40 points a game.
But that's a talent of Burrow. Like I'm saying, if you give me Burrow, if you give me another quarterback,
Dak Prescott, if they had Dak Prescott,
I believe so. I believe so because Dak plays better with a run game.
Oh,
so you putting a quarterback on that squad with a all-pro running back, all-pro offensive line, and the defense he has, and he has all-pro receivers. Like, you got to look at the total picture when it comes to Jalen Hurts. Other quarterbacks don't have that liberty like he has. The Eagles,
San Francisco has it. There's several teams that has it. Baltimore has it.
And that's why they able to
win. The Bills
win.
have it. Kansas City has. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
The Bills don't have it. The Bills don't have it. The Bills don't have it.
Let's get to the reason for this. So again, obviously we all know what's driving this conversation, of course, and it all has to do with obviously everyone on this channel's favorite quarterback. Everyone's favorite quarterback is Lamar Jackson. You want to rank him up there. He's top 3 of all time. Everybody wants to put him up there. So since 2019, top-rated passer, top 10 rusher, highest passing rating in history. Congratulations, Lamar Jackson. Yes, all those accolades and whatnot. But still, the brother has not delivered in the biggest moments. But every week we got to talk about Lamar and the Lamar fans who want to put this guy up there as in the elite when you got a brother like Jalen Hurts who balls every year. And you guys don't even want to say, well, he's a good – I got to strain it out. You say he's a good quarterback. Come on, man. I mean, I just think this is, I just think this much. But I know you one of you guys sent me this. I didn't send. You guys sent me these. So obviously, you wanted me to show these. So I just wanted to appease. I'm a team player, so I wanted to certainly appease the base. Obviously, you sent me these, so obviously you want them shown. So I wanted to give Lamar every week on the show for this season forward. We're going to give Lamar a spotlight for the show. So here's Lamar Jackson's spotlight as we go through the season here. But no love to Jalen Hurts because he's just a good quarterback. But Lamar, he's untouchable here. So I just wanted to give Lamar his segment since that seemed like every week that's what we want to do on the show. So shout out to Lamar on that. So again, you guys want to comment on this? And we'll get Mandrell in. Certainly, if he wants to chime in on the whole Lamar versus Hurts or whatever quarterback conversation he wants to have, and then we'll get into the boxing towards the end there. But I just wanted to have this Lamar Jackson moment so we can laud and applaud this great elite player who has an aversion to winning in the biggest spots. But I sent that picture.
I knew it would piss you off. It was almost like if I would have said if you just take out Lamar Jackson and replace him with Dwight Howard. I just knew it would just get a reaction out of you. But Lamar Jackson is Lamar Jackson. I know the biggest thing about Lamar, everybody's pointing out, is his postseason. Lamar Jackson could very well be a 3-time MVP winner right now. So Lamar Jackson is an elite quarterback. I don't know how that is even debatable. I know when he was drafted, people can't say he's just a running quarterback. He has proven that to be false. He could do both. And so, but Lamar, he's Jalen Hurts in the regular season. He gets wins, but the numbers don't lie about Lamar when he gets into the postseason. He turned it to Dak Prescott. And that's the main thing that people hate on Dak Prescott about. They don't even look at Dak in a regular season no more. It's all about the postseason with Dak. And he struggles. The same exact thing can be said about Lamar as currently right now. He's an upgraded version of Dak Prescott. Now, I believe his talent will eventually win him a Super Bowl ring. I just don't know when. And I made the point last week because the team he has around him, if for some reason they don't win a title, even with Derrick Henry he can hand the ball off to, and I don't know. It's hard to continue to make a case for him. But during the regular season, the dude is elite, and he is up there on all these different stats. And he has the hardware to prove it. Jalen Hurts don't have the hardware to prove it in the regular season. He has the ultimate hardware to prove it, and that's in the postseason. So I guess it depends. You want a quarterback who can give you stats in the regular season but struggles in the postseason. Obviously, many people won't go like that. You want a quarterback who kind of give you pedestrian numbers in the regular season but can deliver in the postseason. You just don't know what game. You don't know what game. It's not like Jalen Hurts go out there and have a Hall of Fame postseason route. He just has one game where he leads his team. But think about Jalen Hurts. If his team can get him to the Super Bowl, he will show up. And that's what he's shown the past 2 times. So that's why I believe he's a big game quarterback. So it depends, I guess, take your pick.
Of course, man. Welcome, Mandrell, as always, to the show. Good to have you on, as always, brother. Good to see you here. Would you care to chime in on the Lamar versus Hurts quarterback discussion, please, in terms of who would you rather have certainly leading your team in a game? What's your thoughts on this? Hurts seems to be getting no love here at all, but I don't understand it. But what say you, sir?
I don't understand it either. Hurts is not bad. You know what I'm saying? Hurts is
First of all,
not
let me
that.
address this. First of all, I don't like Lamar Jackson because I'm a Steelers fan. And if you don't understand Steelers Ravens, you know I cannot like Lamar
Hated
Jackson
you.
under
And
any circumstances. So you should know that more than anybody. All right. So again, so that's the primary reason.
my question is, what's wrong with Hurts?
Nothing.
Maybe his name just hurts.
It's just to me,
maybe he should
they
rename
try to
himself
put him
Well.
in conversations that he doesn't
Jalen
belong
Well.
in.
Change his name from
And
Hurts to Well. Or
it's like
Hurts to
he's
Fonzie.
he's good, but don't try to sell me that he's good and he's great. Just be like, hey, what he does is really good. And I will say I give him props for when he left Alabama, I never thought he was going to be much again. He changed it at Oklahoma, and when he came into the league, I was like, okay, that was Oklahoma in that pass-happy offense. He's still not that good. Then he's came, and I've seen him year after year, twice a year. I see him up close, and it's like, hey, he is a lot better than I thought he was. Congratulations, but I don't think he's a great quarterback. I don't think he's great. I think he's really good.
He's not great yet. He will be. I think he will be though.
That's a chance too.
I think he will. I think he will be. I mean, he came out of Alabama, right? Look, and I'm
Alabama
not
and
being biased
Oklahoma.
here. I'm not being. He left Alabama for whatever reason with Oklahoma. I'm not being biased here, but Alabama produces stallions. I don't know what the fuck the coach is doing now. I mean, you know, that loss against Florida State was just. I mean, look. I'm not the Alabama fan in my family. My dad's side of the family, every single one of them, Crimson Tide all the way. My wife, Crimson Tide all the way. Me, Auburn. Just because the rest of y'all want. I don't like Nick Saban. Y'all don't understand what Nick Saban is in Alabama, in the entire state. Nick Saban is God there. Okay, there's God,
He is.
Jesus Christ, and Nick Saban. Okay, that's the hierarchy in Alabama. Everybody. Okay, God, Jesus Christ, and then there's Nick Saban.
And the boy showing that right now. He can't deliver the Saban level.
But credit where credit is due. Alabama does produce some really good athletes. But where it hurts, I mean, he left. Why he left?
No, I'll say this though.
There, but in the league,
when was the last time Alabama had a great quarterback in the NFL level? Mac Jones and all these other guys who came into the league, they're really not that good. Tua is not that good. I mean, you can't stay healthy.
It's been a long time, and it's even been. I think it's been. Hasn't been. It's been since before Cam Newton was at Auburn, in my opinion.
Yeah.
An NFL caliber quarterback coming out of Alabama. No, Auburn beat him to that with Cam Newton, and he's retired from the league now. So it's been forever. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you know the program. It ain't you.
The problem with Alabama is when you have and I'll say a lot of the top tier programs where you have all of the elite talent. Sometimes you have so much elite talent, it hides what the player can do. And it's like on the NFL level, you're not going to have this much of a disparity of talent. And the quarterbacks that tend to do better, like a Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, they're going to schools and they're elevating those teams and put them into places where they probably shouldn't be. Like a Cam Newton, he had no other pros on his team on the offensive side of the ball. And those kind of guys can change it. Whereas Alabama, you got, what was it, the year they had Jerry Jeudy, Jalen Waddle, and you're stacked everywhere. So it's just like, hey, manage the game, and you'll look like you are a superstar. Even now, Joe Burrow is an exception of that. He's an exception to that, where he had an NFL offense of everywhere, and then he still goes to the league and ball with a crap team.
The problem with Alabama is this, man. The NIL has messed up Alabama. What are we talking about, man? Everybody's paying out now. And listen, all of those Florida boys go to Alabama, man, Drill. They go over to Alabama and play ball from Florida. So shout out
just to give some perspective. Just to give some perspective, we're going to get to the boxing. The last great quarterback that came out of Alabama was Ken Stabler in 1970. Before him was Joe Namath, who I don't think is the greatest, but he's certainly important to the game. Kenny Stabler was the last one. Jalen Hurts, even though he didn't stay at Alabama, still he's the only one of note since then. Everyone else has been average at best as since then. But
we can say the same thing about Ohio State quarterback.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ohio State has the same issue. Ohio State, you just hoping C.J. Stroud can kind of change that now because they've been having a rough time with their quarterbacks. I just think because I heard, even you can see this year right now, even though it's a young season. But it was a whole lot of noise for Arch Manning, who's obviously come out the gate struggling. There's some other quarterback names that it was a lot of Lagway, in Florida quarterback. He had a lot of hype coming into the season. He's struggling right now. I just believe right now in today's college football, mainly because they quarterbacks and players in general just transfer so much, but coaches, because they don't have no longevity themselves on their respective teams. So coaches, they have so much pressure to win now. They just coaching their quarterbacks to perform and be a collegiate quarterback, win at the collegiate level. They're not trying to develop them. You know, they don't, because if they got so much pressure from all these different angles, except wins and boosters and all these, they trying to win now. You see that in Ohio State starting to really invest a whole lot of money in their players. But they okay, we just had to win games right now, so they can develop a good collegiate quarterback. But then also when they go on a professional level, you know, simplest thing, they don't really take snaps underneath the center. Mm-hmm. Everybody's shotgun. You know, you go to NFL, that's damn near a requirement, unless you Joe Burrow, who takes 90 because his offensive line is so bad. But they just don't prep at the NFL level anymore because they trying to win now.
Yeah, the thing is though, Shawnee, is that like it's the age old saying. You know what I'm saying? Like they used to tell us this when I played football in high school. You know, junior high, they just kind of playing football in junior high. I played 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. You know what I'm saying? It was just they kind of just let you do what you want, right? And it was fun. But then I got to high school, 10th grade. Okay, I was subbing from time to time. Okay, it was way more competitive. But 11th and 12th grade football, it wasn't the fun part. That was over. Okay, in Alabama, in the state, the fun part, screw that. You hit. You know what I'm saying? It was way more serious. And the reason why they tell you that playing high school football is that okay, when you get to college, there's gonna be some people way faster than you, way stronger than you. Then they're like, okay, but when you get to the pros, everybody's fast, everybody's strong.
The elite of the elite.
You need to be there now if you can. I mean, but that was the thing. Like when I was coming up, everybody was trying to go to the league. Everybody was trying to be the best. Today, for some reason, they kind of let players have too much leeway. Where it was way more discipline when I was, in our day. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm 47.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm speaking from my generation. It was way more discipline at that time. You know, football was a serious thing. And plus, I'm born and raised in Alabama, and I'm playing football in Alabama. Yeah. Now, y'all Texas, y'all do the show. Y'all got fireworks. It's like a Super Bowl for a high school football game. It's ridiculous in Texas. I wish we had it in our state. Okay? Y'all do the thing for football. But in Alabama, it's all up here. Like, they if you don't have the grit, you're either gonna develop it or you're out. You're gonna get cut. That's the way it was when I was coming up. But
all y'all had that. But here's the thing, and this is the thing I love about. That's why I equate football to life, right? Because y'all played when y'all was young, and it created some discipline and manager, like you said, man. The guys around you pushed you and challenged you to be better.
Everybody's trying to be the best,
and it sort of gave you that sense of confidence. Right now, it's like, oh, you found one good dude, and everybody like, oh man, he's the best, and he's the best. Instead of challenging that sport, but again, man, here we are, man.
Yeah, and like you said, everybody around the team, if you saw somebody who was good, like someone who can catch really good, someone who was fast, you trained your butt off to be better than him. Everybody did, and it was very competitive because everybody's coming for your position. No matter how big of a superstar you are, everybody's coming for your neck. Okay, and then me, I played running back and I played strong safety. Okay, if I'm on defense, everybody gets it. I want to put my hands on everybody. I want to knock your head off. Okay, I wanted to, and I would clothesline people and shit. Like we was dirty, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Come on, man. He was
cheating.
Let's acknowledge. We got to keep the show moving.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying that intensity.
I got you. Shout out to Anton again.
Shani, I agree with him. They don't develop players anymore. I don't know what that's about. but we need
Shout
a
out to
bet.
Anton, another $5 super chat. Arch Manning is not living up to expectations in Texas, so that's not good. Appreciate that. Super chat. Let's change the discussion because we can talk about the football and the state of Alabama football for a while. It's like talking about the Cowboys, so we can't contaminate the show too much with
That's
Cowboys
true because the
or Alabama
Cowboys,
talk. So we just can't do that.
you
But
can't
let's
talk
move
about
on.
the Cowboys all day.
So
They barely have a team, Mr. Bennett.
yeah. So let's move on. So again, we had the mega fight
Here we go.
over the weekend. So again, Canelo Alvarez does what a lot of pundits said that he couldn't do. Clearly outclasses and beats Canelo. He becomes the only 3-time undisputed champion. He was undisputed champion at 140, at 147, jumps up 2 weight classes. Well, really 3, to beat Canelo in a master class of fighting to win that belt. I mean, definitely he's clearly working himself in this discussion. I think he's probably the best fighter of this generation. He may be one of the best fighters of my lifetime, and you might have to start talking about the all-time list, the GOAT list, in terms of where this guy is. Now, I was nervous this entire fight because, one, I mean, Canelo does have power, and I was thinking I wanted to see. I mean, he really didn't get. I mean, he hit Crawford with some decent shots that I thought he was able to take, but I was looking forward to see if he can land these shots. So I was nervous the whole night, and he essentially had to do what he did because at the end of the night, the scorecards. All right, so one guy had it 116, 112, and 2 judges, 115, 113.
Bull.
You're in Vegas. And basically, look, the way I saw the fight, I had it easily 9-3. You could probably talk me into 10-2. I thought
10-2.
Canelo had the 5th, and I thought he had the 10th. And Mandrell, he was arguing with me because we were going back and forth that night. He didn't think he won the 10th, but he clearly landed more power shots in the 10th. So I gave him the 10th round just as most of the judges did in the 10th round. But to have a 7-5 with that virtuoso of a performance just shows you how corrupt boxing is and how much everybody was in the camp of Canelo, the WBC, and all these sanctioning bodies. But again, he had to pull off a near perfect performance to get this outcome. To the point where the guy Canelo was so frustrated that the guy would get hit and he was walking away from him. Like, I thought he was going to do like Roberto Duran and do a no mas in the fight. So again, I was definitely on the edge of my seat the whole night. He kept it up. His stamina was good. He moved very well. Again, I got nothing else to say. And we definitely going to have some conversations about where does he stand in history now in terms of the greatest fighters of all time with this. So, again, for those of you stayed up, I know for me it was 1 a.m. before the fight started. I hate, I'm not a big fan of that. I mean, East Coast, you got to stay up to 1 a.m. to watch a main event. I don't think that should happen. But, in any event, though, it was a great fight, certainly for Crawford. But for those of you if I start with Dante, if you stayed up, well, it's a little closer for you. It's a little closer to your savings time than mine. But your thoughts on the fight and how'd you have it down as far as rounds? How many rounds for Crawford? How many rounds for Canelo?
I'm with you. Me and Shani actually watched the fight together. We was watching it at a bar, and we was just like, I did see maybe he won 3 rounds, but it was one of those deals that's like, hey man, you could clearly tell. Hey man, Crawford had it. Like I love that caption that you had in the picture. You got it too, Mandrell. Like you could really see that he was getting them with some really good shots, and it was just like, man, he has an answer for everything he has for him, and it's like it's like I don't know if it was a hunger or like everyone says, like he's so hard to figure out. He just like you said, he outclassed him, and this is like he clearly won the fight. I didn't know the scores had it that close because the bar we had, we couldn't like hear the sound, but like I didn't hear like all this. I heard the scores like after you heard the scores, and I was like, all right, he got it. It's late. I'm gonna go ahead and head out, but I didn't know like he said, I had friends in my group chat. They were like, "Hey man," I was like, "Man, I think he got the fight," and they was like, "Man, it's Canelo. He gotta go ahead and finish and prove it." And I was just like, and with that scorecard, I see what you mean by that. I clearly mean what you mean. Like, hey, Vegas is scrub. He's the face of boxing. He's the golden guy, the golden goose. Yeah, you gonna look out for him as much as you can. And it was just like, man, yeah, I was impressed by Crawford. I don't know what his next step is. I'm just excited for him. I'm happy for him. Like I said, I know he took the road less traveled. He like you said, he wanted the belts, he wanted the recognition, and I hope that like he can get his big paydays from it. But totally love the fight. Like I said, hey man, you give me fights like that. Like instead of going to the bar, I will pay for that on my own. And because I'm like I said, not the biggest boxing guy, but I love a good fight, especially one that I didn't think would happen. I heard for years. I would talk to my boxing friends, and they'd be like, "Oh, he'll never fight him. He'll never fight him. He'll never fight him." And I was just like, and it's one of those. Like I hate that. Give me the fight that people want. You gave it to me. I'm gonna go support it. So, shout out to Terrence Bud Crawford, man.
Awesome. Shawnee?
Yeah, like Dante mentioned, me and him we met at the sports bar, and it was very TCU deep. One thing, and there's a lot of purple in there. But I thought maybe Canelo had maybe at the time before the official scorecard came out, maybe 3 rounds, and I was kind of surprised at those. I don't know. Y'all can better explain to me, because to me, it appeared like at times Crawford kind of like stepped off the throttle a little bit. If that that's how it looked like. Maybe maybe that he was just using that time to kind of read Canelo a little bit more within the fight. But it looked like it was just times where he kind of stepped back, and coincidentally, that's when you kind of see Canelo kind of attempt to get more aggressive. And to me, it looked like Alvarez respected Crawford's counter ability, while Crawford respected Alvarez's power ability. It looked like Crawford had it like that the punch that you see the replay all the time when it kind of snapped back Canelo's head. It appeared that Crawford could have followed that up, but he didn't. And I don't know why. I guess maybe
he explained that in the post-fight conference. So
that was the thing that the ball was that we
decision
couldn't
of
hear
his
that. They were playing house music all the damn time.
Yeah, that was the decision of his coaches, because he was asked that question. He wanted to go forward because, again, he's an aggressive fighter. He's not just a slick boxer. He's got that dog in him. But his corner was like, stay disciplined, win the rounds, bag the rounds, and kind of keep it going. So he wanted to do more. But Bull Mack and his trainers, they said, "Oh, just keep doing what you're doing and you're fine." They didn't want him to take risks or to go for the knockout or the knockdown in that situation. So he talked about that in his post fight conference.
Okay, so that's what because all I was we was able to do was just watch the fight, and they kept playing this old house
music.
Yeah, man. I was like I say, it was TCU deep, and a lot of them don't look like us. So
Listen, man. From what I saw, Shawnee said it, man. He backed up. He showed him much respect. The corner wanted that. He could have knocked him out in the 6-7 round. Canelo was getting older, of course. I thought his age showed, but Crawford was much faster. He could have got his punches off any time, but I think outside the 10th round, that's the only round that I really saw him really, but that's all Canelo had. He didn't have really nothing to give, but I think he gave him much respect. He gave him too much respect. He could have knocked him out, but the odds is money, and he wanted this big payday because after the fight, he gave him back his belts. So that's paying the greatest respect, to give the man back the belts.
Well, that's actually tradition. By tradition, you give, because those are mementos for the fight. He's gonna get new belts, but that's usually what happens.
I never heard that.
The way it works, Coach Berg, is once you win the title, that title is customized. The sanctioning body makes one that's customized to that boxer. So, when you win the title in the boxing match, you go back. Usually, you send someone from your team to give those titles back to the opponent, right? But Crawford wanted to do that himself in person because that was out of respect.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like you said, he showed the ultimate respect. Crawford wanted to do it himself instead of sending a team member. That'd be
Yeah.
like me at a fight. I win. I send Shawnee. Hey, Shawnee, do me a favor. What? Take the man's belts back. You know what I'm saying? Instead of me getting up and doing it.
No,
It's
that's the
just
great. That's the great character of Crawford. Show great character, man. That's worthy right there, man. Just to do that,
Yeah,
But
and to me, it we were talking about Jalen Hurts earlier, and Mandrell, we talked about it a little bit yesterday. For some reason, Crawford doesn't get the love. He's a great player. Great fighter. He's successful. He gets the wins. But for some reason, he doesn't get that he doesn't get the purses that a lot of these guys get. I mean, why the country doesn't embrace this guy? It's still a mystery. Again, Jalen Hurts goes. All he does is ball, and he wins. And he's not getting that love either. So it's just amazing how some guys, get that shine, and some guys don't.
Well, I had a question for you, Mandrell, before y'all go. It may correlate to what you just asked, Mr. Bennett, because I was looking at some of the social media posts after the fight, and of course, because I view it as he was light on his feet, and I mean he's not a statue. He's not going to just stand there and let you hit him. But obviously watching the fight, you see Alvarez doing more stalking. And you see Crawford using his dodging ability. I mean, even when he looked like he could have been backed into a corner, he was able to duck out the corner and go like that. But as I'm reading the Facebook posts and comments and whatnot, I'm seeing a lot of people saying he was running. Crawford running, Crawford running, Crawford running. So I don't know, maybe if it's kind of related to what you were just asking. Why? And I know this is, you mentioned it as far as the total picture, because Crawford had many fights. But just in the small scale of that one fight this past weekend, I'm looking at it like, I'm seeing people saying, oh, he's running from Canelo. He was running from Canelo. Almost the same thing that they were saying about Mayweather when he fought Canelo. Well, he's running. Yeah, I don't obviously believe he was running. I think he was a damn good defensive fight. He was dodging punches, what you expect him to do.
And he was landing punches at those.
Yeah.
And landed. And he countered with and Shawnee and Dante. He if you notice his counters, he countered with 3 and sometimes 4 hit combos.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He was cut. So he was doing the work. My thing is, everyone talked about how powerful Canelo is, and then how was he running when Crawford got in there and got in Canelo's face, okay, and slugged it out with him
He got in the phone booth. Yeah,
he got in the phone booth a few times just to show Canelo and show everyone else, no, I can brawl with him too. I'm outboxing him. I'm moving. And so that's why, like, stationary people like Deontay Wilder, Joshua, of course, okay, and Canelo, people who just stomp around the ring, they have to plant their feet to throw a punch, right? They always have problems with fighters who can move, mobile fighters. You know what I mean? So Crawford was not running at all. Those are people who either A, they still hate on Crawford. They don't want him to be as good as he is. They don't want to admit it. Or B, they don't know what they're looking at when they watch boxing. It's like I tell people, like, listen, Crawford is something different than every other boxer out there. He's not only the greatest, because I think, Mr. Ben, I think you might bring it up later, because last week you asked us, okay, out of Crawford's top 5, who could, this list here, I've changed my answer from since last week, because it's because of the way he did it. Crawford was in control of the entire fight. The entire fight, they fought at his pace. His pace. They did not engage unless Crawford wanted them to engage. He controlled the whole fight like a puppet master. Only a fighting genius does that. What Crawford did that night, people don't appreciate nor understand. This dude at 26 years old fought at lightweight, Shawnee. At lightweight at 26 years old. And you're telling me he worked his way all the way to super middleweight and became undisputed? That's retarded. That's supposed to be impossible. He goes, okay, so he became undisputed at 140, 147, and now 168. And he was a world champion at every weight class that he ever fought in. Stop playing with me. This is not possible. It really is not. No human being is supposed to be able to do this, fellas. It's not possible. And I told Black Men Unfiltered, I said, look, Floyd, this is one reason why Crawford is better than Mayweather. Mayweather ain't got the heart. He ain't got it's the nerve. You know what I'm saying? Mayweather's never would never do the crazy thing that Crawford just did. He would never attempt it.
And keep in mind, he fought Canelo at a catch weight of 152.
Right.
He wasn't even at his fighting weight of one. I don't know if Canelo was ever at 147. He was always a little bit bigger. So he a catch weight of 152, which is significant at those weights.
Right. Yep. And then he fought a much younger Canelo at that time, and Canelo was not the fighter at that time that he is today. Crawford fought a far better. I don't want to hear this whole thing about Canelo's old. No, Canelo's younger than Crawford is by a couple of years. Okay, he's a much more seasoned fighter, much more disciplined and knowledgeable. He's a far better fighter today than he was when he fought Mayweather. And see, here's the thing: Crawford didn't have any of those bitch-made, weak Mayweather clauses in the contract. There was no rehydration clause. There was no catch weight clause. There was no clauses. Just make the weight, bring your ass. That's it. Now, fight night, you can weigh 200 pounds if you want to. I don't care.
Yeah.
Just show up.
You can clearly see he was bigger. Canelo was much bigger at the fight time. At the weigh-in, they were much closer, but he definitely filled out.
But he filled out there, like you're right. He filled out when it was time to fight. He was much bigger, you know. And so there was no. So he wanted Crawford wanted no excuses. He wanted Canelo at his best, and he got it. That was a very, very good Canelo Alvarez Saturday night. Very good. Okay, and I watched that fight 3 more times, man. I give Canelo Alvarez 2 rounds. Crawford handled him the entire fight. Now, I say that, okay, that behind me, because everyone knows he's the greatest of this era, period. Bar none, no questions. That's it. There's no one better than him in this era, not even Usyk. Now, because Usyk is number 2, and I got Inoue number 3, as far as pound for pound right now. Crawford 1, Usyk 2, Inoue number 3. Now, on this list, there's no one who can beat him. Not one of them.
You know what, Mandrell, when you was going down, his pathway, basically him going up to different weight classes and seeking the fights or whatnot. The first thing I thought about, I don't know, I remember if you played video games back in the day, you remember Street Fighter, right?
Yeah.
So Street Fighter, the character Raul, he was a roamer. He was just a dude with a bag or whatnot, roaming, looking for the best fight. That's all he did. He had no home. He just walking around looking for a fight. You want to fight him? Here we go. Put the bag down. Let's go. And that's what Crawford reminds me. He's just seeking the next fight versus a high caliber fighter. He's not dodging anybody.
Right. He wanted the best. And here's the thing, Shawnee. This fight Saturday night solidifies, stamps, and proves that this entire time, from the time Crawford was at 147 to present day, all those boxers at top rank, even Bob Arum, kept his fighters away from Crawford. PBC kept their fighters away. He was the most ducked fighter, maybe in history. He's definitely one of them. Definitely one of the most ducked fighters in history. He's definitely the most ducked in this era. Okay, everybody ran from him. Nobody wanted to fight him because they figured they'd lose, and they would. Okay, look at the way he did your boy from Texas. And Spence, I love you.
Yeah.
Errol, I love you. But like I said you would. And and so it shows it sheds so much light even on that fight. If Canelo got in there and the post-fight interview says, I trained hard, I did what I was supposed to do, I even tried everything that I had. I had no answer for him. I couldn't figure him out. Canelo at his best said that about Crawford. And then he also says that Crawford is far better than Mayweather. So I don't want to hear any more Mayweather nonsense. Black Men Unfiltered. Stop being biased. Okay.
I would take Marvin Hagler over Crawford in his prime.
Now here's my thing, Coach, about that. I love Marvin Hagler. Okay, I'm really good friends with his son. Okay, coming up in boxing, I met Marvin Hagler. I trained with him. You know, he had some some lessons with him. You know what I'm saying? Not just one or two either. I sparred with his son, the whole nine. So I know the Hagler family personally. I can call them up. Me, even with my bias, I got to put that aside and acknowledge what I saw Saturday night. Because for me, Marvin Hagler was the king of the four kings. He was the best out of all four of them. You know what I'm saying? Because he beat everybody. And that whole thing, he lost to Sugar Ray Leonard. Everyone saw that fight, knew that Leonard lost.
Now that was running. People talk about Crawford was running. No, Sugar Ray ran from Hagler all night.
That was running.
Yes.
That's how you run from a fighter. You watch that fight, Marvin Hagler versus Sugar Ray Leonard. That's running. Okay? And then and Mr. Bennett is correct. They were trying to rob him. Because and I found out why they were trying to rob him. Matchroom, Queensberry, and Queensberry, and Turkey Al-Sheikh had a lot of money tied to Canelo Alvarez, right? He has like 3 more fights with his contract.
Yes.
Everybody stood to make hundreds of millions of dollars off of Alvarez for his next 3 fights. Alvarez was guaranteed 150 million per fight, okay? But he had to beat Crawford, and everyone figured he was going to beat Crawford. They thought all the nonsense that everyone said. Even Mr. Bennett had his doubts. You know, he had not doubts. I say he had questions. I'll give Mr. Bennett. He had questions about, okay, can he handle the power? Can he carry the weight? And they're legitimate, all legitimate questions. But these other yahoos thought Crawford didn't have a chance. Crawford gets in there and takes his ass to college. Okay, that was a virtuoso performance, like Mr. Bennett says, in the sweet science. And now, what do you do now? Nello has no belts. You let a guy come from lightweight at 26 years old to 140, 147. You let this guy come up and take all your belts at 168. The money's gone, or at least not as much as you thought, not as much as you was gonna make.
So why they were booing the Sheik?
Because some people don't like the fact that he's now funding all the greatest fights that we've had over the past several years. He's funded that. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good thing, though. He's bringing the fight.
It's a fantastic thing, but people boo him because he said some slick stuff to even Crawford. He told Crawford, "I will own." He told Crawford one time, "I will own you," and Crawford, in Crawford fashion, said, "Okay, we'll see. I got you." And that's all Crawford said. Now, Saturday night, what does Crawford do to that dude's money? Yoink. He snatches it away. Right. You know, he snatched all.
Now, one question I had asked Mandrell. I was asking, it's like, why? It's like Jalen Hurts. Like, why isn't he getting the love? This last he had a virtuoso against Spence. A virtuoso here. He's a marketable in the ring. He's a marketable. I mean, his skills aren't questioned, but nobody wants to promote this guy or rally behind him. He doesn't have. You look at him. He's a clean cut guy. He has his family. His wife isn't a fashion model. All right, I'll say that. He's got an average looking wife and whatnot, but he keeps clean. He works with the kids in Nebraska and whatnot. It's like all the things that he does. I think he's pretty articulate as a fighter. He's no Tank Davis. Tank is the most articulate guy speaking there, but nobody wants to say, yeah, let's go all in on Crawford and put him in against these guys. The Sheik is actually talking about the next fight coming up, putting Benavidez, because we know Canelo ran from Benavidez. He wanted no part of Benavidez.
Right, this fight ain't happening.
I'm just saying, but first of all, I think Crawford would take it. If Benavidez comes back down to 168, I don't think he's right unless he. So to me, either he retires, because I don't think he's going back down. He carried the weight very well, and he'll get better at it. So either you stay at 168 and fight the best. He already said he's not going to 175. Benavidez should have been in the conversation a long time ago, and people ran from him. So I think Crawford would take it on. I don't think he's going to run away from it. So it's either this or Crawford retires. I can't see anything else. But my thing is, why aren't people getting behind this man who has shown you nothing but greatness and results his whole career, and nobody wants to give him credit, or nobody wants to. Yeah.
I've got it. You remember Marvin Hagler had the same problem.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, boxing, these executives want a certain look. Okay, Sugar Ray Leonard was a pretty boy. He was the face of boxing at the time with the
7-Up commercial.
Right, and so that's why they gave him that fight against Hagler, right? Okay. Again, I'm saying the truth. That's what it was. They gave it to him. Like they tried to give it to Canelo in this fight, but Crawford beat him so bad they had no choice. So, that's what it is. They want a certain look that they can market. The pretty boy. Now Alvarez was the pretty boy. You know what I'm saying? He was the pretty boy. That's something that they can market. But look at Terrence Crawford and his family. They're from the hood. They're poor people. They grew up. He grew up poor. He's been poor his whole life. He's got money, but he's been. But the thing is, I agree with you. He's been smart with his money. He's taking care of his family. He's taking care of his health. He's taking care of his money. Been with the same woman just forever. They have 6 beautiful children together. And they look like an average, everyday family. But they don't want that. They want the pretty boy with the supermodel wife and that whole nonsense. It's an image thing. You know what I'm saying? And Marvin Hagler had to overcome that same thing when he was boxing. So
you never saw his wife. I don't think you ever saw Marvin's wife. Have you ever seen his wife at a fight?
At a fight, yeah.
I've never it's not. You know how they with the cameras. They showed like when Sugar Ray Leonard was like somebody. They showed the wife.
Right.
I never saw Marvin Hagler's wife at a fight.
You have to know what his wife looks like to know that that's her because they didn't point it out like they did with Sugar Ray Leonard. You know what I mean? So you're right on that one too. You know what I'm saying? There's certain people and a certain look and image that they want. Now, Terrence Crawford, he's a good guy. He's not one scandal out of this whole thing. His whole time he's been boxing, not one scandal at all. Okay? Spence can't say the same thing. But they tried to market Spence over Crawford at 147. And Crawford does nothing but demolish all of the best. He's fought the best at every weight class he's been in. And 3-time undisputed, whereas Mayweather was never undisputed at all, ever. And people say, well, you can't be Floyd. Shut up. Stop being biased. You're not in the conversation, you think that. But that's why they don't market him, because it's a certain image that they want to market and push. They want the pretty look, and Crawford ain't pretty. You know what I'm saying? He ain't. He's not the pretty boy thing. He ain't got that going on. He just straight hands, skill, greatness. He's beyond. Like he's in. Like I said, he's in the conversation of greatest of all time. He's top 1 or 2. He's either 1 or 2 as far as pound for pound greatest of all time. To ever, I'm talking fellas, and I'm saying it's a bold statement. I'm telling them to ever lace up the gloves ever in the history of boxing. He's either number 1 or number 2. You're not beating that. You're not.
Let me get Coach in there, because Coach, the three of us, we probably have more familiarities with these fighters on the list. I mean, certainly Dante and Shawnee, you can certainly chime in. What do you think he ranks? So at least on this list or on your all-time list, is he up there? Or has he made the GOAT list with this performance and just his accomplishments? Is he on that Mount Rushmore of greats of all time?
Just based on what he's doing, he's definitely on his way to be number 1. I think a few more knockouts in any weight class with whoever, I think that'll solidify him as far as the overall number 1. But right now, he top 2. I'll put him behind, again, in this group, because I still would put Hagler first in this group right here. But yeah, my man Crawford is definitely number 2 and rising real quick, because who else is he going to fight? And it's going to have to be a top 1 or 2. If he moves down, he'll probably dominate because he knows what it's like to fight at a heavier weight. Just now balancing that over the next couple of years, balancing those weight classes, because he has to fight at some point, or they'll just take the belt. So just to see how he manages that. And if he does that at least a year, if he get 1 fight in each class in over the next 2 years, he's number 1 all time. I would never dispute Crawford being number one ever. If he win at all weight classes now, yeah, over the next 2 years, yeah, he'd be number one.
And let me throw this in before you move on to just one little snippet right quick. Keep in mind, it's for the Benavidez thing. I don't think this fight's going to happen because Benavidez walks around at 205, Mr. Bennett. He walks around at 205. He fights at 175, but he walks around at 205. So and Crawford doesn't do catch weight clauses. He doesn't do rehydration clauses. So he shows up 168. He probably going to come in that ring 190. You know what I'm saying?
So who you picking then? Because you know that with this deal got blown up, he's got to make the best fight he can make. So that's probably the best fight out there to be made.
That's the only fight to be made now.
So who you picking?
That's it.
Who you picking?
For Crawford to fight?
I'm saying Crawford Benavidez.
Oh, Crawford.
Okay.
I'm never gonna doubt him. I haven't. Right. I told you, like he first got on my radar around 2010, but when I looked at him, in 2014, he fought Gamboa, and the way he beat the shit out of Gamboa, I was like, oh y'all. I said all of y'all are in trouble. Mm-hmm. That was back in 2014. I said everyone is in trouble. Period. And I figured no one was going to beat him back then in 2014 when he beat him. It's the way he did it. Like I've never seen anybody just manhandle. And my question was, okay, because for me, Marvin Hagler, all the four kings, those were killers. And that's the difference between them and every other middleweight or welterweight, right? Marvin Hagler was a killer. But I knew Crawford had the dog in him, but is he a killer? And there's no doubt about it. He's a killer.
Yeah.
When he wants to, like you see, like even Shawty and Dante caught on it too. He stepped off the gas. He even stepped off the gas against Spence because he could have really. He did him bad, but not as bad as he could have done it.
That's a scary thought. But he
could have. Let me
get this. Hang on. Let me just get the super chat in. Let me get this super chat. $5 super chat from Anton again. Thank you for the support. Another boxer didn't get the recognition until he won a statement fight. Bernard Hopkins. True. Certainly for the age that he did it as well. Bernard, he's one of those skilled guys as always. But let me get Dante and Shawnee in here. Your thoughts on what you've seen. Where would he rank just on what you've seen in boxing? Where would you put him? Because I know you guys have seen Floyd and some of the guys, De La Hoya, and probably those guys you're familiar with. Where would you rank Crawford on your list?
I'll put him over Mayweather. But kind of going back to, okay, so when y'all looking at, and when y'all was asking us about why isn't Crawford, or where would Crawford be in the rank, kind of similar to this, but more on a global perspective. And why isn't he getting the attention that he deserves? I think right now Crawford is, you have to. It's almost similar, because I see this with players in both the NBA and the NFL. They're good players, but to the global sports base, they're just not recognized. But if you like a aficionado, or somebody who really, in this case, a boxing aficionado, or somebody who really respects and watches the sport of boxing, you have no problem put Crawford towards the top. But if you're looking at the general fan base of it, okay, so basically when we was watching the fight, this one dude, he came up to me and said he put money 400 to 1 on Canelo in a split decision. I told him, yeah, you lost your money, but he just lost his money. But that and that particular spot we was in, Crawford. Everybody knows Canelo. They don't know Crawford as much. They're not familiar with him. They almost down there looked at Crawford like this another fighter just comes stepping in the ring with Canelo. Not recognize who is stepping in the ring with Canelo. And y'all mentioned that, Crawford's early in his career, I believe it was a mixture of just terrible contracts as well as people ducking and dodging. They didn't want to fight him. So his name to the global sports base who may watch, like me, watch the casual fight or casual big fight, they don't know him. They don't really follow Crawford. He's not like that popular. Canelo is. Crawford's not. But obviously, if you watch the sport of boxing, and you saw it this past weekend, these two dudes just not on the same level. They didn't know who he was coming into the fight. They damn near thought he was just another dude, but they recognized and seen who he was after the fight. So that's what just looked like to me, how Crawford is just not viewed as highly as he should. And what I've been saying throughout the night, I think it's just a mixture of not getting the big fights at the time, none of this is his fault. There's some other factors that wasn't allowing him to get the big fight, the big notable fight, and that in turn leads to like the casual boxing fan or whoever just not seeing him when we seeing these other names getting these big primetime fights. Hell, you saw the difference in between what Canelo got, 150,
150 million,
and what Crawford got.
Crawford said in the interview that he got 10 million. He said in the interview you
can see right there, just this Crawford obviously took the fight because he mentioned it's a legacy fight and stuff. He wants that fight. He knows it will grow his name. And y'all mentioned it's like him and his family is good, so he gonna take that 10 million, and his family is set. That's generational wealth for his family because how he's been taking care of his money. But that pay, it's just like, this is how he is viewed from the outside compared to Canelo, who was obviously viewed on a higher pedestal.
Mm-hmm. Dante?
I would say, like I said, I know he.
Yeah, I'm looking here, and it says that he.
It's controversial, but it's
10 million.
Yeah. 10 million. I posted a clip in our chat because it was just like I couldn't believe. I read it in the article and then I went and found the clip and I was like, oh no, this was like. And I want to say he said this was back in May with a box. I think can't remember the name of the podcast it was, but I would say not to be prisoner of a moment, but for sure from what I seen, like you said, I knew he came a long way, but I didn't. I guess it brings to why he said what he said when he said, hey, but Crawford said it's impossible until somebody does it. So what you said about him coming back from such a small weight to all the way up to this weight, that it's impossible if somebody does it. And that is a mindset of somebody that's dedicated, that's focused. And so with that said, and having the belts and being somebody that got like a title that no one else is like he had, I would say, yeah, he's over Mayweather in that standpoint because he gave us a fight that people never thought would happen, but he gave it to us when he could. Like as far as Mayweather, what everyone says 5 years too late for his. So I would say all time, yeah, I would put him above Mayweather. And just for as fighting and just seeing just how he just outclassed somebody that what he say, I looked it up. Yeah, Canelo's 35, Bud is still 30. He was 37 at the time of the fight.
He turns 38 in a couple weeks.
He's 38. I think he turns 38 either this week or next week. He turns 38.
And so for sure in that range, I definitely put him there. Obviously, I put him above Canelo, but in this era, like, yeah, he's I would say this is the type of legacy fight that puts you there above everyone else. And then it gets you talked about amongst the guys, like the guys from the Four Kings era. It gets you talked about in those spaces and you can debate it. And the thing is, you at least can debate it. Even if someone doesn't agree, you can say, hey, look at this pedigree. Look at this pedigree of what this guy has done on the world stage. And it's just like, like you say, stacked against him, making less money. This is the face of boxing. Shady dealing with Vegas, dealing with, hey, they want to shift it this way because that's the guy, that's the golden goose. He has a light at stake. With all that stacked to that, you gotta up it even more for him and say, hey, that's the guy, that's the dude that I can go and tell my son, like, hey, what about boxing? What about, hey, you ever heard that Bud Crawford? Yeah, he was a hell of a fighter. I would tell him he destroyed one of my favorite fighters. He destroyed it and made a big fan out of me. If you can take my fanhood from one guy, not that I say I don't still vote for Spence, I rock with Spence, but be like, hey, I'm automatically with you. It's kind of like when you go in war and you dominating people. It's like, hey, I'm taking your resources. He took me as a fan, and I'm grateful for it. I really appreciate and like watching his fights because he's coming with a level of tenacity that I like to see. Like, that's why I like football, a certain level of tenacity. He brings that in the ring.
Yeah. Listen, if there's anybody that we need as fans, certainly as the boxing fans, we've seen this now. Now it's on Netflix. Usually, a good pay-per-view was 1 million buys. Over 30 million people watched this fight.
47.
47. So if you didn't know who he was then, you know him now. This is a guy we need to support. Classy guy. We saw what he did, giving the belts personally to Canelo after the fight. Good family man. He checks off all the boxes. But if you're into aesthetics, if that's your reason for following someone, then I think, I think that needs to be examined. But, certainly if anybody's going to been a great representative for boxing in and out of the ring, it's been Crawford. And it's about time that I think people start to acknowledge that because, he's just not getting the platform I think that he needs. And I think, if anybody deserves $100 million in their next fight, it should certainly be him. And I hope he certainly gets a greater line share. I just wanted to raise one thing as we come to the close of the show. This will be my final thought, and I'll just look to quickly bring it down. Again, I want to thank Mandrell for coming by and sharing his insights as always, certainly on the show. But one thing that's kind of checkered this fight a little bit, if you guys saw the press conference leading up to it, there was an exchange with Dana White, who I personally, I just say, I don't know the guy personally, but I don't like his business model or his practice with UFC. I'm not a big fan of the USC. But one of the things that his new promotional company and with TKO, what they're trying to do. So a few years ago, you have a Muhammad Ali Act that came out, and the whole purpose of the act was simply to have greater transparency and protection for fighters. That you had a lot of these promoters and the pay-per-view companies and whatnot making all kinds of money, and fighters were getting the small end of the stick. Dana White is known in UFC. Yes, he's very powerful. He only plays his top stars who get paid. Everybody else gets nominal money for what they're doing. And Dana White is basically trying to get a bill to basically end that program that's supposed to protect fighters in the ring. So that's another reason why I don't like Dana White being in boxing. If he's trying to bring the UFC model to boxing, I'm not a fan of that. I certainly think, boxing has its issues with too many promoters and promotional companies, but hopefully I'm a guy who's actually happy that the Sheik is in the business and certainly Netflix getting into the pot. But I don't like Dana White, and this just gave me another reason not to like him because, again, he's trying to, monopolize the sport just as he does with UFC, where only the top cash cows for him are making money. He paid Conor McGregor untold millions of dollars when Conor McGregor didn't win a fight for 7 years, and he still paid him. He paid Brock Lesnar. He gave Brock Lesnar a title shot after only 2 fights in the thing coming from the wrestling world. So, again, I don't like his model, and that's why I've never been a big fan of MMA. I respect the athletes, but I've never been a fan of it. And I just hope that, this proposition, this HR 4624, I hope it does get shot down and that, that the fighters get taken care of and make sure that they're not getting abused by these promoters or whatnot who used to be able to rob them blind. So that's so I just wanted to bring that to people's attention. You can certainly look it up. So again, HR 4624 is the White and the TKO group. So they're getting behind this. It's just a money grab. The guy's a billionaire already. He's just trying to make more money and a lot of times at the fighter's expense. So I just thought I wanted to just call that out. And if you guys want to comment on that, we can just take final comments on that and then close the show. But again, appreciate you guys being on here tonight. Any comments on this? And we got a minute left in the show before we close.
Yeah, quick comment on that. You're right. And remember, the Muhammad Ali Act is how Spence and Crawford made their fight happen. Mm-hmm. Because PBC did not want Spence to fight Crawford. And Bob Arum did not want Crawford to fight Spence. Okay? But under the Muhammad Ali Act, that's how Crawford and Spence got together because they wanted to fight, because they wanted to know who was best. And they wanted to fight each other. They wanted to fight the best. Okay? And so that's how they made that fight happen under the Muhammad Ali Act. And final thought, Terrence Crawford, for me, he's top 1 or 2. You can debate. I'm a Hagler fan, Hagler stan, as they call it these days, all the way. He's the king of kings in an era of 4 kings. Okay? Period. hands down, undisputed. Crawford, undisputed in 3 different weight classes. Mayweather has never been undisputed in any weight class. Crawford's resume it dwarfs Mayweather's. Even his 50-0 padded record, because we know it's padded, cherry picking opponents, not fighting people he should. No, he's a bitch. He ain't got that nerve.
We're gonna end the show on that, ladies and gentlemen. Guys, tune in next week on the One-on-One Sports Show. Enjoy your week. Take
Appreciate
care.
you, man, Drill.
God bless. We'll see you
Thanks
next
for having
week. Good night.
Peace.
Oh, where's my mouse?